G'day folks, and whether you meant to or not, you found yourself back at, I wonder where that goes. The Workshop Edition. Replacing the SV650's front brake lines.
So what are we doing today? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to change the brake lines on this SV650S from 1999. As you can see, I mean it's upside down, but I'm sure you can read it. That says 1198 on those brake lines. And if we squeeze the lever, the brakes work fine, but it's extremely spongy. So we've got these funky new levers on, which are working well, which were a really good improvement. But yeah, we're going to get some new lines on, and I'll show you what those look like in a moment. So here we go, we've got the new lines, ordered those up a little while ago. They've got 28-degree bends on them, which means that. And they are black braided steel hose. 270s for the front, there goes the thing, and 160 for the rear. So we're going to do the rear maybe tomorrow, but we're going to do the front today. And basically it's a case of whipping those lines off, putting the new lines on, and then bleeding it. So it's not a particularly big job, but there is a bit of a wrinkle in as much as apparently that master cylinder, that Nissan master cylinder, has an M10 by 1.0 thread pitch, whereas everything else has 1.25 thread pitch. So to compensate for that, I bought a double bolt which should be the right pitch for that. But if it isn't, then there is another double bolt up in there which is the other pitch. So with a bit of luck and a following wind, I'm covered. Anyway, we're going to get rid of all that junk and just put on two separate lines, because that's what I've always done and it works well. So let's get to it. First thing that needs to come off is this caper here. So that's just a single bolt. That will not be going back on. That I might just put the bolt in so that I know where it is. The Speedo pickup cable thingy is attached to the line, so I've clipped one cable tie. I'm going to clip the other cable tie, and then of course you have to undo this to get the lines off, and you got to obviously make sure that you don't damage shit as you go in, and any drips and drabs that you've got are picked up, because as we all know, brake fluid is amateur hour paint stripper. So yeah, we've got that up in there. That's all just going to come off. I don't have to then take that apart anymore. Undo, let me see, which way around would I do that? I would undo the top one. No, I'll undo each bottom one, let it drain, and then and try not to get any oil onto the discs, obviously being prepared to clean the discs very nicely. So I'm going to do this one first. Got that one wrapped up, got that wrapped up. I have to loosen off the cap of the master cylinder to make sure that that allows the fluid to go through, because we actually want the fluid to go out now. And cover off the tank. As I say, it is paint stripper, but it's not like super aggressive. As long as you notice it and get it off quick enough, you should be fine. But yeah, so I'll crack on with that. So just dripping the brake fluid out, and even though that brake fluid has been in there only about a year and looks pretty good in the master cylinder, it's not looking all that super flash, is it? Anyway, try and catch as much of it as you can, and when you do, you know, use the right gloves, which I'm obviously not doing. Let's see how much of this shit comes out. How much stays in the lines? Not too much. So you want to have that just captured, because obviously you don't want it all over the fucking place. And then do the other side while that's draining. Of course, then I need something else to hold it on in. So just a moment. So just took off the second one, just letting that drain however much it would like, and it looks like old man's piss. And I don't quite understand that, because it has been changed quite recently. But look at that banjo bolt. Now, for those of you who don't know what a banjo bolt is, the oil flows through there, through the centre, and down the lines, through the centre and into the caliper, and then does its thing in there. But this seems to have some crap in it, so I'm going to clean that out, because I do intend to use these once again. But yeah, the other one was a bit claggy, but look at that, that's actually blocked. So, you know, this is a good thing to do, even though I did the bleeding on this bike about a year ago, I think, maybe a little less, and it all came up really good, and the brakes have been good. As I say, it just passed its roadworthy. But yeah, that's not ideal, is it? Now, as you can see, the other one was blocked as well. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, one side of it. So it's almost like, you know, maybe that was the bit that was down and it's all sedimented into it or something. I don't know. But anyway, fab, innit? No, well, you can see that. Anyway, going to be cleaning those. So here we go. That's the Nissan setup. I just got sort of snot rags on the end, just up it dribbling all over the place. But that's, as you can see, comes down to a splitter, double bolt, so 1 to 2 through there, down to this one, down to the right hand side, down to the left hand side. We're going to keep these. We're going to junk all that. Might need that bolt. I'm just going to see whether that new bolt that I bought is actually going to fit, or whether I need this one, or whether I've been lied to all along and the whole job stops and the bike has no brakes. Anyway, let's see how we go. So I just thought I'd show you this. As I say, it's completely clagged up. I've done one already, and I was using a toothbrush, as you always should, to clean anything like this, and it wouldn't move it. So let's just show you. So in from the other side, nice and delicate, it's the right size screwdriver, obviously the exact tool for the job. Actually, let's take that off. Look at this. I'm pushing quite hard, and fuck, look at that. That plug of shit. This screwdriver is the right size to go through. Look at that. That's rock hard, that is. That's yeah, you wouldn't want that in your piss pipe, would you? Alright, let's get that one cleaned up. Okay, so we've got the lines on. I'm just doing the you know, sort of the fitment to make sure that they're all good. I've started with putting the cable ties on with that cable there, which is the speedo cable, or speedo sensor cable. The only bit of electronics on this bike. This side, it was an important note that these are in fact sided. The one on the other side has got a little tag, which I can show you, as you can see, which actually holds that cable in place, because there's a little groove. So get them round the right way, otherwise that thing will be flapping around in the breeze. They came with their own little grommets. I haven't tightened them up yet, I'm just getting it all lined up. And I was pleased to note that my purchase of the new double banjo was not in vain. That is a 1.0 pitch thread, ridiculously, whereas all the rest are 1.25, so they are not interchangeable. Anyway, got that all sort of lined up so it doesn't rub. I might get a bit of stuff that goes around here, because that looks a bit close to me. It's already got a couple of marks on it. But I shall just see, I might just put a bit of tape around it to start with and see whether I need that stuff or not. So a little bit more zip tying, and then I'll tighten all the bolts up, because they're not yet tight. They're just, you know, so that they can move around a little bit as I get it in the right position, bouncing the front end up and down, as you can imagine. And yeah, but it already looks well sweet, and it's probably saved about ½ a kilo off the front end already. So yeah, cracking on. Right, I've got to the point where it's good to go. As I say, I might be putting some tape on here. I think I will be, actually, because it's already marking up. But apart from that, I want to get the brakes bled, and I'm not going to tell you how to bleed brakes, because there are many videos out there showing you how to do that. What I will say is that what I tend to do is, I've got some .4 which I've already had opened, I don't know, probably a year ago, and you're not supposed to do that. But what I do is I do the bleeding first with that. You know, it's virgin oil, but it's been opened, and that means it's got water vapour in it and all that caper. So that's not the best anymore, even though it's never been used. But I use that to flush it all through, and then I crack open a new pot to actually do the last flush. So we've got fresh fluid in there, fresh from the maker. But yeah, I'm going to get on with that. You don't need to see me doing that, because you all know how to do that, and if you don't, there are many other people who can explain it to you better than I can. But it's just a war of attrition. Sometimes it goes really well, sometimes it takes ages. It's a bit like having sex when you're older. Alright, okay, let's get on with that. I will just say, look at that fluid. That's only been in there a year. I'm pretty sure the fluid was never changed before that, and I know I've disturbed some shit by opening stuff up, but just look at that. That's cack, and that's only been in there a year. So I reckon that's got a lot to do with those shitey old tubes, shitey old lines which have just basically been dying in the arse. Anyway, right, so we have done, and I say we, I mean me, I don't know, something like 4 full reservoirs on each side. Of course, I started out on one side. You don't get a hard lever, obviously, because there's still air in the other side. So you just keep on going until you start getting clear fluid, because look at that fucking renal failure shit that I've got down there. Anyway, iron brew. So until you get clear fluid out of one side, then you go to the other side, and if you have a bit of luck, like I did, then you start getting a hard lever. And so I've then got a hard lever on the left-hand disc on the other side, then came back to this side and put another couple of reservoirs through of the open fluid, right? So now it's all clear. I'm not getting any bubbles anymore, and now I'm going to put one full reservoir through each side from the fresh pot, which I've got over there, and then obviously top it off, and that should be jobbed. All right, let me do that. There we go, we are finished. And of course I was talking about putting some tape on to protect the lines, just in case there was some rubbish. But because I've got a mind like a steel trap, you know, rusty and with a dead rat in it, I'd already ordered it. So I went up the back of the garage and I found exactly what I was looking for, which is this sort of cable wrap stuff, which is spiral hard plastic. And yeah, it just protects everything, and it's not a bad look either. That's 12mm. Obviously these are more like, what, 9mm, but it gives you a bit of movement, you know. It should protect it. And yeah, nice hard lever, feels good. I mean, obviously there's sliding caliper brakes, so they're never going to be as fandango as the monstrous, well, relatively speaking, monstrous things on the TDM, which are, as previously mentioned, these blue spots. Same deal on them, but you know, they're 4-pot calipers, single casting, all that business. And that's a very hard lever, misses. Whereas this is in relative terms a hard lever, definitely compared with that bullshit of 26-year-old condoms masquerading as brake lines. Anyway, that's that. I'm not going to do the back one today because, quite frankly, I can't be arsed. And you've actually got to get at the reservoir, you've got to take half of the arse off, which is just, you know, pain in the ring piece. So, yeah, not going to do that today. I think I'm going to call that a win. I might just tootle it up and down the road 2 seconds just to make sure everything's sweet. And yeah, calling that a win, people. Lovely. Alright, if you wondered where that went, if you were thinking to yourself, I wonder where that goes, that's where that goes. Alright, cheers. Just before I forget, that is a half-litre drinks bottle, right? So that's got what? Let's call it 400ml in it. That was a litre that we bought last year, as previously mentioned. So I'd put about, yeah, I don't know, 300ml of that through the lines. And then this was a half-litre bottle that we bought yesterday. So that's a fresh bottle, assuming that's 100, 200, 300, 400. For 2 reservoirs, I put about 80ml through, haven't I? So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I've got to do, you know, front and back, and how much oil do I need? And they're selling half litres, or they're selling even quarter litres, depending on, you know, if you're just doing a single line or something. But I don't think it will be enough. Be advised, a half litre for 2 lines is going to be enough. And probably it's going to be fine. Well, it's definitely going to be fine for the rear as well. You could probably do a couple of bikes with a litre. So, yeah, just save yourself some money. Half litre is the way to go. Cheers.
Go and subscribe, you bastard.